Hello, hello. Hello, you guys. I am so pumped to be here with you. Join me from my balcony in Barbados. Can you see it? Kind of like, it looks like one of those, you know, those background drops that you can activate on Zoom that are fake, but it just makes you want to be there with the palm trees. There's a palm tree one that some people put up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be where your background is. I'm actually where my background is. Cool, right? And you guys, I want you to lean into something pretty incredible that is actually the tip, the tool, that got me to this very spot. Okay? What if I could give you a tool? And for those of you that have been hanging out with me for a little bit, or like are into this personal development stuff, you're like, oh, I've heard of this before. What if I could give you a tool that could grow you exponentially and get you everything you want quicker? What if I could give you that tool? Well, there's lots of tools that I like to give the people that I work with, but one of the biggest things that we work on is affirmations. Okay? Everything that you are consuming in your environment is an affirmation. Everything that you even say to yourself in your beautiful mind that you're just like, oh, even the things that, oh, I'm glad nobody heard that. The things that you say to yourself when you pass a mirror, the things that you say to yourself when you go to do something and then don't do it, the self-doubt, the belief that you have in yourself, the ability or inability that you think that you can do something, down to when you pass that mirror and there's like a dimple or a wrinkle or like something somewhere that you're like, ugh. Everything you say to yourself is an affirmation. You are affirming constantly. The music you listen to is an affirmation. Help me on the music I listened to in high school. I was like a Eminem, kind of gal. I wouldn't be affirming that to myself now. Probably not too helpful. Catchy, not too helpful. Okay? But I want you to actually think about, what are you affirming to yourself? So an affirmation is something that you say to yourself over and over and over constantly. On repeat, every single day, all day. Okay? This is that constant repetition that is programming you. It's either programming you to move forward or it's programming you to stay the same. Okay? So I'm going to give you an example. Okay? When I first started my business, okay, so this was 8 years ago. When I first started my business, I had never owned my own business before. I was in the habit of, I had just finished school. I was in the habit of, I went to school, I got the job, I worked for the same job for 15 years. It was a super safe government job. And I was like, I had never owned my own business. I don't know how to do this. But the more I kept telling myself, I don't know how to do this, the more I couldn't figure out how to do it. Okay? So what I started telling myself, and these are really powerful statements, okay? Whatever follows the words I am is what gets in there even deeper, okay? So I read this book and it told me to come up with some I am statements. And I started reading about how I am powerful, I am abundant, I am worthy. That was a big one for me. I honestly was a pretty confident person, but I didn't think I was worthy of like leading my own company, leading a team, worthy of the amount of money that would be brought in through said business. Like I had some worthy stuff going on. Okay. So like I am worthy was a really big one. And I started repeating these things to myself. And initially when you're saying them to yourself, you're like, I don't know. It kind of feels like I'm lying. I hear that a lot from people. They'll be like, I feel like I'm lying to myself. You're not lying to yourself, because as long as you know where you're going, it's not up to anybody else to know where you're going. Okay? If I know where I'm going, so in that case, I knew I was an entrepreneur. I'm like, I am a business owner. So now it's my job to affirm belief into myself. It's my job. So here's the thing. I was in the habit of waiting for my outside to affirm it to me. Waiting for my husband to say the right thing. Waiting for my manager to say the right thing. Waiting for my government to say the right thing. I was constantly getting my affirmations from other people. What did my parents think? What did my siblings think? What did all these people around me think? And when I realized that they can want good for me, but they can't do this for me, because they're not responsible for me. The only person responsible to and for me is me. That's it. I am the only person that has this level of responsibility. And how unfair is that I was giving away my power, this level of responsibility to create my life to other people? Like, that's the most ridiculous thing, right? So if you're hearing this right now and you're going like, oh, dang, I totally do that. Like, if my husband doesn't think it's a good idea, I don't do it. If my teacher doesn't think it's the right thing, if my government doesn't think it's the right thing, if my manager doesn't think, I don't do it. I'm constantly seeking everybody else's stuff. I'm here to tell you, the sooner you say, these people are responsible to me, like Dave and I have said, hey, do you want to do life together? Okay, we're responsible to each other, but he's not responsible for me, my goals, my happiness, none of it. And I'm not responsible for his. The fact that he makes me happy is a perk to the fact that I already make myself happy. Okay? And how do I make my own self happy? Is because I only fill this head with words that are serving me. I affirm joy into my life. And then guess what happens? I attract in things that make me joyful. They make me happy. I attract in relationships into my life. Like, guys, I study every single morning with the most kick-ass group of people you've ever met in your bloody life. I don't think I've ever said bloody before in my life in that way. They're amazing. This crew is incredible, okay? I've attracted them in, and I get to hang out with them every single day, okay? Because your environment matters. Your environment is crucial. And if you are not currently living in the environment that lights you up, you need to decide what you want that environment to look like, and you need to affirm that it is already yours. You need to repeat it over and over and over and over and over. Okay? And the only thing that's going to kick you out of doing that, because you can say to me right now, oh, Delynn, I've done that. I've tried that. It didn't work. It works. The process works. The only thing that's faulty is you and your thinking. You as a human are perfect. You were born perfect. You were created in your creator's image, okay? Like, you are perfect as a human, but you have these habits of the way that you've been thinking that are not serving you. So either you make a decision to start thinking and affirming something different, or guess what? Nothing changes. Because our outside is only a reflection of what's happening on the inside, right? So like Barbados, this ocean that's behind me, that totally looks fake in this picture. It's so good. It's not an accident. I had this idea, this view that I'm looking at right now that you guys are seeing. I've visualized this in my mind thousands of times, possibly 1 million times over the last 2 years. I made a decision that I was going to live on the water I thought it was going to be some lake in Ontario, but then it turned into Barbados. And when the opportunity comes up, because I've been affirming it, because I know where I'm going, it's like a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I sit here and I'm just like, Dave and I have looked at each other a couple times and we're just like, oh my gosh, we live here. This is crazy. And I've had so many people say to me, oh, Barbados, that's kind of random. I'm like, no, it's not, because I know what I think about. I know what I've been thinking about in my mind. I know what I've been affirming to myself. I know Delynn goal achieved. I know where she's headed. And she lives wherever she wants to live. She works poolside and seaside. She goes live with the ocean in the background. It's what she does. After this, I'm going to take my kids to the beach. It's what she does. Okay? Like, you have to know where you're going. It's not up to anybody else to know. It's not even up to anybody else to care. Have you spent any energy thinking to yourself, like, man, I'm so bummed that my partner or my parents or my boss, or they don't care about where I'm headed, or they're not emotionally involved in my goal? Okay, do not spend 1 ounce of energy giving that any energy. Okay, it is not up to them to get emotionally involved with where you're going. I didn't need Dave to get emotionally involved with this idea. I mean, had he said, I want to live in the desert, we might have a problem. It's a little bit of an opposite here, right? I didn't need for him to understand what affirmations are and manifestation, and I didn't even need him to understand the power of faith, God, source, universe, whatever you believe in. I didn't even need him to understand that. I just needed to know in my mind, I'm like, I just know Delynn goal achieved is still married to Dave. She's still married to him. They're rocking life together. And that's all I needed to know. I didn't need him to move at the same pace or whatever. Okay? So all you need to do, whatever you want, affirm it. Affirm it over and over and over. Okay? So decide what you want, and then who do you need to become to get there, and fill the gap with the affirmations. Okay? So here's the thing. Okay? So this is what we do in our study group. Okay? So if you're like, I need some help with that, reach out. We can book a call. I can help you with that. Okay? Also, I'm having a free workshop next Thursday, Friday, right here. Okay? So I'm going to put in the chat, I'm going to put the link for you to register. Okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to register for that free workshop. It's next Thursday, Friday, 12 to 1 Eastern. Okay? And I want you to come both days. And when you register for it, you're going to get the workbook. Okay? So get the workbook. And then in the workbook, I'm going to help you fill that gap between where you are and where you want to go. Okay? Because you might be going, oh, it must be nice to move to Barbados. I've heard that so many times. It is nice to move to Barbados, actually. And you can too. Or you can move to China or Australia or wherever you want to live. The world is your oyster. Okay? Like, you can have it too. Because you know how I know? Because you're also a human and you're working with the same stuff that I'm working with. Okay? So just be open to it, and I promise you, I will teach you all the goods. Okay? Just hang out, do as I'm telling you to do. It's not a secret, although it's called the secret. It's not a secret at all. Okay? So, your goal this week, I want you guys paying attention to what are you repeating to yourself over and over and over. What are you affirming to yourself? What is in the music you're listening to? What is in the TV shows you're watching? Who and what is on your social media feed? Okay? I am like death by scroll hole. However, if you are going to get caught in the scroll hole, I want you to only have things on there that serve you. The moment someone hits your feed that's a negative Nelly, even if it's your mom, delete. I'm not kidding. I've deleted family members. I've blocked family members. Like, just because they're your family doesn't mean they're your people. My mom was my people. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care who it is. You aren't going to give 1 ounce of energy in affirming things that aren't serving you anymore, but you have to make a decision to do that. Deal? Awesome. Thanks for leaning in with me, you guys. Hugs from Barbados. Mwah, 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 mwah. Have an awesome day.